Good rule of thumb, if you can't explain what a sound is adding to your beat, it probably doesn't belong there in the first place. Once you start like just bouncing your head to it, it's like you've basically accomplished all you're trying to do with the beat itself. Focus on being efficient and focus on making beats that rappers will actually want to rap on instead of just making the best possible beats in the eyes of a producer. Alright, what's good, YouTube? Let me take this off for a sec. So in this video, I wanted to go over what I think is like the biggest mistake that I see most aspiring producers like myself out there making. And that's just not having the right mindset when they are making beats. And I see it all the time where like people will do things like spend over an hour making a beat to ensure that sounds like as perfect as possible, second guessing their first instincts, using way too many sounds and effects, as well as many other things. And there's a lot of things to talk about with this, so I figured the best way for me to go about doing this would be to make a beat as I go while ranting about these things. So yeah, with that in mind, let's dive into it. So this is the key thing to understand. As a producer, it's not necessarily your job to just be giving the best beats possible, but more so to give like beats that a rapper can actually use. And that's where I feel like people get lost because they tell themselves that's all about making the best possible beat and always perfecting everything you make. And that always leads to so many problems like spending too much time on your beats, using too many sounds, second guessing everything you do, deleting a lot of beats, or just not finishing them in general. So in other words, for me, I look at being like a successful producer as like an equation almost. Like it's almost like how good your beats are on average that you make multiplied by like the amount of beats you're actually making per day, because it's really about being efficient and like finding a balance for what works best and what gives you the most valuable output every time you go about making beats. To increase the amount of beats that you make, there may need to be some sacrifice in like how unique your beats are on average, but in that sacrifice, when we look at it, like that equation may be worth it. And trust me, as a guy who's been doing this for just under 5 years now, this is probably the biggest mistake that I've been making and was holding me back. And I only recently changed this about myself ever since I started actually working with artists. But yeah, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm gonna make the beat now. So I'm gonna use this new preset that comes out of my new Essential Sounds Volume 1 Omnisphere bank. Go get that. It's a bunch of sounds that I think are the best and most used presets in Omnisphere, all like binded together, as well as sounds that I made. It's pretty good. And yeah, I'm using this preset called Keys Oasis Block, and I'm just gonna lay down like a super basic melody. And yeah, just like that, basic chord progression. Then I'm gonna get another preset from my bank. I want like a pluck sound, so I have a few down here. I use this one a lot, Pluck Arcade. I think it sounds really cool. And I'm just gonna lay down like another pluck lead melody on top of it, because you know, that's just what feels right to me. It needs like another little sound. I'm gonna get something from GMS because, you know, I like exploring new plugins and whatnot. And I know a few good sounds in here that Metro used. Yeah, this is the one. And just like that, that's the melody done. There's only like 3 sounds actually loaded up for the melody. And I feel like nowadays you really shouldn't be going over, let's say like 5 VSTs for your melodies, because once you start doing that, you're gonna start like adding all these layers that just take up space. And they're just subtle sounds that add little or nothing to the beat and just end up accomplishing nothing. So I'd always say, and this is something that I stick to this day as probably one of the most fundamental rules that all producers should understand. A good rule of thumb, if you can't explain what a sound is adding to your beat, it probably doesn't belong there in the first place. So yeah, stick to that. All right, now I'm just gonna do the drums. just fix it up real quick. See, the thing is, I want to like sit here and like really explain to you like my process of everything and all these theories and whatnot, but like really I'm not putting like any thought into what I'm doing right now. And I feel like when I look back at it, like all the best beats I ever made, sure, you are applying a bunch of things that you already know, but generally when you're making them, you'll notice that like you're not really putting any thought into anything. And honestly, you shouldn't. Like that's a good thing, because I feel like it's all about like understanding the fundamentals and things that work and that you should always do as practice, but also mixing that in between like trusting your first instincts and doing what feels right to you. And with this beat that I'm making, I'm keeping that in mind and nothing else. See what I'm doing? Like just by like doing this, it's like when I start doing that, that's like I know the beat is done, because like once you start like just bouncing your head to it, it's like you've basically accomplished all you're trying to do with the beat itself. After that, like it's missing is an artist rapping over it. So if the artist isn't doing that, then he's just gonna skip your beat, which also is another reason why you shouldn't spend like an hour making it, but I'm off topic at this point. So actually with this beat, I'm just gonna pitch it up one semitone, because a general rule for 808s that I kind of like to stick to is I use B4 as like the lowest note usually. Like if you're going below that, it kind of gets hard to hear the 808, and I want it to be a little bit more stand out, so I'm gonna increase everything. I like that root note better, to be honest, so I'm just gonna like change it to that. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. So then I'm gonna just change the 808 real quick. Alright, and just like that, the beat's done. And yeah, now I'm just gonna basically arrange it real quick. Just give me a sec. So this is the basic structure I'm just gonna be using. This is a 6-bar verse that's very common, and 4-bar chorus, probably the most common structure you'll ever see with beats. And yeah, I'm just gonna do that and like not put too much thought into it. Put my tag in there. Screw it. And just like that, I made a beat in 11 minutes. So I know some of you may be saying that, you know, that beat's pretty basic. There's nothing too crazy about it. And I'd honestly agree. I think it's pretty simple, but like, trust me on this, you really don't know like what beat is good and what isn't until you play it to an artist or a group of people. So really like focus on being disciplined and keeping things simple and being efficient with your time, and just like making beats quickly, as well as matching a certain level of quality that rappers will actually want to use your beats. But I feel like a lot of producers struggle with this because it's our natural instinct to do things creatively and like make things unique and always add new sounds, mix everything super well. But like, trust me, it's not efficient and it's not a good practice if you really want to be a producer who gets placements. Focus on being efficient and focus on making beats that rappers will actually want to rap on, instead of just making the best possible beats in the eyes of a producer. Alright, but that's going to be it for this video. Again, make sure to follow my Instagram and Twitter at FinnaFinesse, as well as check out my new JMizzy beat channel, where I'm going to be uploading beats from now on every so often. Also, if you want any of these drum sounds I used or any of these preset packs, everything I use comes from my personal kits, which can be bought at my BeatStars page with the link in the description. Let me know what type of videos you want me to see next. You know, more uploads in the near future. And yeah, I'm gone. Peace. Crazy thing is, you get like Future on this, you be like, hey, and it'd be like fire.